Hi, this is Ravi Bista. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to tackle with the first speaking question in TOEFL test. Well, there are in total 4 questions, and the total time for your speaking section is 17 minutes. Okay, the question has been divided into 2 sections, that's independent and integrated. Let us look at that. Okay. So the first independent task question is like, let's call it as a choice question, where a question appears on the screen and you have 15 seconds to prepare your answer. So in that time, you get a paper and pencil, you can jot down the point that you would like to say, or you can just make it a mental brainstorming and speak. But you cannot speak before 15 seconds. So after your 15 seconds is over, you have 45 seconds to respond whatever answer you have brainstormed. So you will not be able to speak more than that because your answer will be recorded only for 45 seconds. And then we go with integrated tasks, under which we have 3 questions: campus situation, academic course, that's general and specific, and we have academic course where the lecture presents summary about it. Okay, now let's move on to the types of independent question. I'm going to focus more on this. Now, before we move on to the types of choice question, I would want you to understand this thing. Now, by the term independent question, what it means is you are free to speak in any ways you like, provided that you justify the question. Now, there is no one right answer. If there are 10 candidates, they can give 10 different answers and everybody is correct. The only thing you have to do is make sure that you provide fact and details to the reasons that you give. So that's how you're going to answer independent question. Under this choice question, you have preference, 3 options, advantage, disadvantage, agree, disagree. So as for advantage, disadvantage, these are rare questions. However, you got to prepare for the rest. You got to practice all 4 questions, maintaining the same focus. Okay, now let us move on to the ORDC principle. Okay, when I mean by ORDC principle, it means you're going to use this formula. Whenever you speak, all 4 questions, keep this ORDC on your mind before you speak. When you practice, make sure that you're thorough with it. Now, what does this ORDC principle mean? O means opinion. So when you see a question, the first thing that you're going to give is the opinion towards the question. So if it's agree, say you agree. If you would like to disagree, say disagree. So that is what I mean by opinion. And then reason. If you say agree, give the first reason to why you agree. So that's what it means by reasoning your opinion. And then give detail. Support the reason that you provide to your opinion. And after that, conclusion. Now, mind you, it's always good to end what starts. But at times in the exam hall, it's so impromptu. The answer that you give is so impromptu and you might not have sufficient time to conclude. So at times you could just neglect conclusion. Now again, as I said, it's not mandatory, but it's good if you provide conclusion. Now let us move on to the opening phrases for ORDC. How do you give opinion? What are the words or phrases that you could use for opinion or reasons, details, and conclusion? Okay, here we go. Now for opinion, you could say, for me, it has to be. Or you could say, I prefer, I agree or disagree with the statement. Or you could say, I would like to agree. I completely disagree. I completely agree. To talk about advantages, disadvantages, I would recommend, if there's a recommendation question, I think, or you could even say, in my opinion or in my view, I would go with the first or the second, third option. So you could use any one of these words or phrases. So that's how you start up your opinion. Now let us move on to how you start your reasons. Now, if you decide to give just one reason and detail, you don't have to say first. You could say to begin with, to start with, to commence with. So that would be an appropriate phrase if you're just giving one reason. But if you would want to give 2 reasons, now that you decide all this when you practice. So in the practice time, when you're thorough with 2 reasons, so you already know that you're going to give 2 reasons. So you could say the first reason is, one of the reasons is, one of the advantages or disadvantages is, first of all, so this is how you're going to give the first reason. And to give another reason, so you're going to give an additional reason. So you're going to say, furthermore, or you're going to say additionally, in addition to that, on top of that, second, besides, apart from. There are many more of this kind of phrases. You could use any phrases. Now let's go with, how do you provide details? Okay, now detail is something that it could be your logical way of explaining things, or you could just give a story or your experience. You could make up a story. So that's what it means by detail. Now, when you give a reason, you got to support that. You could say, for example, or for instance, take for example, I would like to share my personal experience to illustrate, to exemplify. Let me support with my story. So these are the phrases for detail. Now let us move on to, how do you conclude your idea if you wish to provide conclusion. In short, to summarize, to sum up, to recapitulate, briefly stating, to reiterate. So this is about phrases that use when you are using ORD principle. Now let's go with speaking module. When you speak live, these are the modules. There are 5 modules that I've prepared for you. You try which works best for you. You're going to use that in the test. Like for example, if module 2 has been working fine in your practice, don't go with module 4 or module 3 on your exam. So just make sure that you are perfect with one kind of module and use that. Changing would sometimes be like, you're putting an X on your leg. So you might run out of words, something like that. So just perfect one. So let me give you a little idea about what I mean by these modules. Okay, for example, module 1 I consider as the best. Now, does not mean that you have to go with one, because simply I said module 1 is best. What works for one may not work with for other. So choose your shoe as per your size. That's what I'm trying to say. I hope you got what I mean by that. So module 1 says, first thing is you're going to give an opinion. For example, you say, which do you prefer, home cooked food or restaurant food? And the opinion is, you say, I prefer home cooked food. So you're going to give the first reason. You could say it's affordable. So you're going to say something about how affordable it is. And then give another reason to why you prefer home cooked food. So you could say, when you eat at home or when you dine at home, it's the best time that you can gather with your family members and talk about your personal or professional talk, which may not be possible in a restaurant. And then give reasons to support how eating at home or dining at home is like private, you're maintaining your privacy, how you can share. And then just give a conclusion to whatever you said. So that's module 1. On module 2, what you're going to do is, now the first opinion reason 1 works, it's same for all modules. So I'm going to move on to this. So when you're in module 2, when you're giving second reason, like you're going to give first reason, second reason, and then on the detail section, what you're going to do is, you're going to provide one detail that will support both R1 and R2. For example, you say, I like eating at home because it's affordable and is hygienic. Now, you're going to give a detail that supports both hygienic and affordability. So that's what it means by module 2 strategy. And then give a conclusion. Okay, and module 3 is this thing. So you give opinion, reason 1, detail 1, reason 2, and then you realize, you see on the screen, oh God, I have less time, or I just have barely 8 seconds. So what you're going to do is immediately give conclusion, because there's no time for detail. And that still is okay, guys. Not providing detail to reason 2 does not mean that you're getting low score. Absolutely not, because you've already justified the questions. And module 4 says, after giving opinion and reason 1, what you're going to do is, you're going to give detail D1, that means positive side. For example, I prefer home cooked food because it's affordable. And you're going to talk about positive sides of affordability, how home cooked food is affordable. And detail 2, negative means, what you're going to say is how restaurant food is expensive. So maybe you could share your experience about you went to a restaurant to dine and you have to spend so much of money with your family members. Which other could have been affordable if you had dined at home. So that's what it means by giving negative or contrasting the other side of the reason, and then give conclusion. And finally, if nothing works, opinion, just give one reason and elaborate your detail and just give your conclusion. That would be better. Now, to some students who actually have trouble making reasons, to those category of students, let me give you module 5. Module 6. Module 6 is about you have no reasons. Just start your story. Share your personal experience and then conclude your answer. Because sometimes what happens is when you're giving details without starting reasons, the examiner could find reasons on the detail section, and that's still okay. So that's M1, M2, M3, M4, M5, and to some who cannot think about reason, it's M6. Okay, now let us go with the sample. Now, please mark the words or the phrases that I've underlined. Those are in a way known as signal words. Those signalize listener to, hey, this is what I'm going to say. And the listener is like, okay, I got it. Learn to draw or paint. Now see, first this is opinion. It says, I completely agree that children should learn to draw and paint. So my opinion is pretty much clear. The raters already know, okay, this is what his standpoint is. This is what he or she prefers. And then you say, first of all, children can spend their free time creatively through such activity. For instance, my younger brother, that means in his childhood days, used to spend his leisure time drawing and painting. I surmise his imaginative attribute in his manhood must have been the outcome of his involvement in such creative activity right from his childhood days. Now, if you see, this is R1. When I say spend the free time creatively, this is reason 1, and this is detail 1. And now, additionally, means apart from using free time creatively, children can express themselves through such activity. Means R2 means express themselves. This is R2. Now I have to go with detail. So if you go with to speak of my brother again, it is not necessary that you speak about your brother again. It's not necessary. You could give another reason. It's all about you. What would you prefer? So here, I'm talking about my brother. His ability to express himself through the painting is unbelievable. He is a man of few words, but his paintings hung on the 4 walls of the corridor speak about child rights, gender discrimination, and many more. So this means I'm giving R2, D2. In short, this is C. In short, creative activities such as painting and drawing help children to utilize their free time creatively and to sharpen their ability to express themselves. So here I've used module 1. Okay guys, I hope you found the video useful. If there's anything that you wish to recommend or suggest, let us know. If you have any queries, please write us on our channel and we shall reply that to you. Alright, bye-bye.